As a middle school math teacher, I like to train my students to use their assessment data to guide their own learning, which creates a shift from fixed to growth mindset learners. It doesn't happen overnight, but with consistent routines, it empowers the children. And once they make the shift, there's no going back. In this video, I'm going to outline 3 strategies you can try in your classroom or with your remote teaching to help your students become agents of learning. So the first one is discussion around data. I know all you assessment teachers share your assignment reports and discuss data with your students, but do you teach them what the data actually means? Do you have, when you have your discussions around data, do you model for them what the data informs you as a teacher and what it informs students? So I say, oh, from this data, I see there's some confusion around this, or everybody really understood that. Would anybody like to add to that or talk about their thinking? Or if I was a student at this point, I would probably be really confused about this, or this because my score is this low. I never single out anybody. It's always an anonymized report, but I model the thinking of what the data means. So the students learn how the data informs things and they move from seeing it as a grade to actual feedback of data. This shift that happens from this type of discussion creates a collaborative learning culture. The students start to see there's more to this data than just I got it right or I got it wrong. So for example, when it comes to the common wrong answer discussion, on the first one here, you can see 71% of the wrong answers was 4. Now I can tell you it's a table and the students took 1 and multiplied times 4 instead of dividing by 4 for the correct answer, which is 25 hundredths. But rather than just jump right in and teach to that mistake, I like to say to the students something like, oh, I noticed of all the students that got that first one wrong and answered 4, um, a lot of you answered 4. So I'm wondering why. Can anybody help me understand what you were thinking or what happened there? Now, the benefit of approaching it this way is it becomes a student-centered learning environment. You're uncovering the student's understanding and you're teaching to the understandings rather than teaching to the mistakes. And it's not just assuming this is what you were all thinking without them telling you and then teaching it. Now, they are going to end up telling you what you were thinking, but it's the relationship and the collaboration that comes about from them explaining their understanding and you teaching to what they understanding and building on that rather than the mistake. Second thing is the tools in assessment that support the learning process. The data is a feedback. So yes, you got it right, or no, you got it wrong. But instead of students seeing that as a right or wrong thing, they learn to understand that they have multiple attempts to get the correct answer. The hints I like to model to the students how to actually use the hints. So for in this one about the interior angles of a triangle, I would put this up on the board and like show a hint and then actually as a model my thinking as a student. Oh, I think I did do that way. Well, maybe I made a mistake in my numbers and I would go check my numbers. Or, oh, I didn't understand that at all. Let me see what the next hint is. And the next hint, I don't understand it again. That's okay. Show me the answer. Oh, now I see the answer. Now I get what they were doing. So even show me the answer can be a tool because students can work backwards to uncover their error. But if they still don't understand it at this point, now they can write down a really good question for the next time they meet with you in class while it's all fresh in their mind. And they've put some thinking into this rather than, oh, I got it wrong, move on. The last thing I wanted to talk about was focus on the learning target. When I say learning target, we all know that there's the goal of learning and the objective of the lesson, but I'm talking about using the data. So as teachers, we look at the assignment report and we use the data to tell us how all the students are doing. But we need to teach our students how to gauge their own scores and their own data against the class learning progression. So everybody learns at a different pace, and I acknowledge that in my class, that we're not all going to learn everything at the same pace. Some people understand one thing faster than another. It is nothing about how smart we are, it's just how we think and how we learn. But I give students a gauge on it. So for example, in the beginning, we learn a new concept. We don't expect everybody to do really high score. We're just learning it today and it's brand new. So let's say everybody, the whole class gets 35% on it. And we say, oh yeah, well, let's talk about our mistakes and let's talk about it and learn more. And tomorrow we'll do better. Over time, we expect to see that score increase. As the score is increasing, I model for the students, okay, so we're all really doing well, our overall score is increased. If at this time you're still not increasing in your score, then you need to figure out what you need for extra help. Are you asking questions to anything you don't understand? Are you reviewing the notes and the videos? Do you need to come meet with me? I don't just say you should be at 60% or 70%. When I say that, I say if you're not at 65% or 70% at this point, you might want to come talk to me. You might want to work with a peer tutor. You might want to be sure you're asking questions and you're not leaving the class with not understanding anything. And if you are, let's get together for some extra help. And I leave it at that. Modeling regularly like this to the students helps them understand that they're a part of this learning process. Um, in teaching your students to be proactive, they learn that you're emphasizing that this dialogue and initiation is an important part of the student's role in the learning collaboration. And you list off all the things that you have, be it video or study notes or all things. So you're giving them the tools, you're giving them the power. They know their data, and now they know they have their part in it, that they need to take action on this. So, a collaborative learning relationship is something that you build with your students. Implementing these three strategies can help establish that. Once your students recognize their learning is actually a collaboration in which they play this crucial part, they become agents of their own learning. During remote teaching and learning, students do not have the luxury of our face to face feedback. So, I believe this is even more important to teach your students during remote teaching, how to use their data to gauge their learning. Teach your students how to use this data. Assistance calls this actionable data, and they will be successful students even with the challenge of remote learning. Thank you.